Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. Today I'm using the mini-Rider-Waite deck. So adorable. Okay. I had a bunch of cards trying to pop out while I was clearing and shuffling. And it did not clear right away either. Alright. Hey. That's 2 cards. I'm not taking both of them. I'm going to put these back and redo this, but we do have 11-11 popping out. Actually, that's 11-12, so it's progression 11-12. I only wanted 1 card. Try this again. 1 card. Okay. Ace of Wands. This time it's upright. And I feel like that cloud is the steam that came off of the Ace of Cups yesterday. My nose is itchy. Okay. Get my hand out of the way. There we go. Ace of Wands. Ooh, that's actually pretty clear. Okay. And the hand is glowing, and there's a castle. Just thinking about this. Okay, I'm going to actually tell the information that I'm relating this to. So, I have been on the Megalithomania YouTube channel, and I was watching a couple of videos last night and this morning related to this green stone and this sword and like landmarks set up as tarot. So what I'm getting is that this river here is supposed to be the Avon, like in the video that I saw, and this castle is like the ruins and churches and towers and stuff that I had seen in the video. So I'm getting this idea of this duality of the river relating to a swan, and that and like another synchronicity that came up but is completely related. It's like completely unrelated video that I was going to watch and then I decided not to. I'm getting this idea that for whoever's watching this, that it's like you are like the ugly duckling, that you've gone through life like, why does everybody dump on me? You know, but it's like you're not in the, it's like you're not in the right environment. Like you're not in, like for your energy, you're not in the natural environment that you belong in. It's like you're, you know, like, I haven't seen Avatar, but the basic premise is that somebody goes and infiltrates dressed as one of the other people, but you stick out like a sore thumb among the ducks. So, I mean, the premise that I'm trying to get at is that when you go through that tower and devil moment that I described in my card of the day from the other day, where the day before that, the Ace of Wands was upside down, and even in the devil card, the Ace of Wands was upside down, and as a torch. Here it's as a more of a flowering rod, but the little leaves coming off it are flame shaped to remind us of that flame element. So for me, the cloud here is sort of like, swan down, of like the baby swan, where it's, this ugly duckling. And then in in the Wild Unknown Tarot, which had the Ace of Cups yesterday, the uh, the court cards are swans for cups, and then we see this river flowing underneath. It's like the River of Slime in Ghostbusters 2, except this time there isn't a creepy ghost with Carpathian kitten loss. So the this castle up here to me represents the tower that has happened already, and we see this sort of like lava flows in the distance that go with it from the other day. Uh, and the idea is that your true nature is coming as an outgrowth of this early time where you're not really, you're essentially not really in your element. So the way to sort of grow into, like, turn the wand aright from the other day, really, the sort of internal passion of what your life is, or basically who you are, has to do with clearing all this emotional garbage away that has to do with, like traumas of your life up to that point. Whereas you say, like, until I went through that tower after hitting that devil card, I was, you know, a little fluffy swan baby. But after purging all of my toxic emotions, I have burst from the cup as a fully grown swan. And, like I'm like, uh, it's not that like swans and ducks don't both have like air and water qualities, but the swan is like more representative of the brain itself. Because here we have this wand as a very masculine, clearly very masculine energy, but it comes directly after going through this cup, which is a very feminine energy. So we see that the swan, like the neck of the swan is like the brain stem, and the, like, going all the way down the spine, and then the wings are like the different lobes of the brain. So in that way, it's like it's similar to the caduceus. And here we just see the stick, but it's implied, at least from the things that are sort of synchronistic to me for the last day, that this is the stick that the snakes will wrap around, and then the swan sits on top of it. I think, I don't know if that's clear, but the general idea is that the card of the day readings sort of build on each other, and it's either very subtle or it's like a continuing story. So I'm not sure what's supposed to come after this, but it's clear to me that when the deck finally cleared, the two cards in the middle of the deck, when I pulled it open, it was the Devil and the King of Cups, which is telling me that this is a direct result. So we have the Devil from the other day, and then in place of who's holding the Ace, it's the masculine energy. So it's not just saying like, oh, it's a dude in your life that upset you. It's saying like, your internal masculine energy is programmed to not feel, and that's why it's so hot, because the um, the way that I have experienced like a manic depressive or sort of a bipolar pattern of rapid cycling is that there'd be sort of an all-consuming, abysmal, like falling and hitting the bottom of the rabbit hole, the ground, the bedrock energy. Like that's what it feels like emotionally, is that you've fallen all the way down into this hole in some oubliette and you've hit the ground and you feel completely abused and helpless and like you want to kill yourself. That is this sort of base of depression. And then it can last, I mean, it could last for a couple hours, but generally it lasts, in my experience, at least until I started getting better, like 2 to 3 days, at least, in this sort of abysmal depression fog of absolute helplessness. And then the next stage above that is anger, when your internal self is saying, well, I don't want to die, this isn't fair. It's this idea of trying to have movement in this oubliette, which is what causes, like, the friction of trying to move in an immovable place causes this friction, which is anger, which is heat, which is lava, which is eventually what can bring you out of it. So what happens is this anger following depression, and then when it finally lifts, it's this sort of like numb base level plateau. And the only issue with that is that any high that gets you above that base level plateau of just feeling like numb or acceptable is almost immediately guaranteed to follow by this horrific plummet. And that is rapid cycling. That's what essentially what manic depression can be, is that, you know, immediately following the depression can be this sort of manic state that lasts until you completely burn out and can no longer create enough adrenaline to keep doing anything. And it's usually fueled by anger and or fear of, I've been sitting too long and now I have to do stuff. And it's like fear and anger are kind of in the same zone also. So what happens in a general sense is that the it's sort of a very it's sort of a more feminine point of view to be helpless and depressed, and in a distorted feminine, and then a distorted masculine energy is rage. And uh and I'm not saying that like the feminine can't be angry, and I'm not saying that the masculine can't be helpless. I'm just saying that those are sort of polarities of energy that exist within that spectrum. But the reason that the Ace of Wands comes out from the masculine side of the Devil card. Let me pull it out too, because I think it's important. If I can. Oh, it's even on the back of the deck. Okay. So even on this Devil card, and on the one from the other day, this upside down Ace of Wands is on the masculine side, because the sort of initiation of anger comes out of masculine energy, which is this sort of signal that you know something is wrong, that you know there needs to be movement. And it's like it's been a long time since I took physics, but there's something to do with work and physics and friction. There's like equations and stuff. It's been like 20 years, so I don't remember, but this idea that, you know, like, I'm suddenly getting this lyric from the Fabulous Thunderbirds. When you rub two people together, somebody's got to burn. So again, this idea of like friction and fire, and then again, just the emotions that are coming out of the top of the cup are hot. They're steamy. There's rage involved in clearing out these emotions that have been like crippling for a long time. And I think that's what's going on with these cards this week. So I had no intention for this video to be this long. I just felt really compelled to do it. To do it now! So, Ace of Wands, upright now, in this little story here. So, you can get a reading if you want, and I will deliver it to you via unlisted URL. And the list of readings and prices is in the description box of the infomercial video. And the link to that is below, both in the comments and in the description box of this video. I have art merch for sale. I have a catalog. I have prints on Cafe Press and DeviantArt and merch and stuff. I've been redoing chapbook packs. It's like a little, it's kind of like a little mini tarot reading. There's just like random cards and stuff and poems in there, and just drawings and whatever, like numbers on there from the date that they were made, keywords, images. It's like a little tarot reading. It's completely randomized. And you can buy those too. So all that information is going to be in the description box there, and I'm going to cut this off because it is getting long, and I have a problem with long videos because I do it all the time. All right. Bye.